Amazing. Okay, let's get right into it.
They say that having a hobby as a teenager keeps you out of trouble. But what happens when a hobby turns your entire life upside down? Hi, my name is Tiffany. Before I
Hi, Tiffany.
continue my story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. If you do, you will find $500 in cash soon. Trust me, it really works. I hear lots of stories about teenagers who don't love their parents, but my parents were the best. They
Better be.
always encouraged me to try out new things. They motivate me to do better, and we can talk about anything. They are the main reason I tried out for my dance club, Dance with Attitude. My mom wasn't very close with her parents. Her mom died when she was 6, and she grew up
Sorry, guys, but my thing. Well, and she went in dance club, so I can't.
with an abusive father. At age 16, she ran away and built herself from the ground up. She was never told that she was beautiful while growing up, so she created and sold beauty products for women. Even though my mother was a self-made
She's James Charles.
millionaire, you would never believe it. We don't have the nicest cars or the most expensive clothes. My mother always told me to be humble because you never know where you might end up. My parents had one rule though. I wasn't allowed to post any pics of my mom online. Even though she had her own company, she paid someone to be the face of the company while she worked in the background. She said that she didn't want her father to find her, so she wasn't fond of social media. My mother, however, didn't mind me posting videos or pictures on social media since my grandfather didn't know who I was.
Just block him. Who does that though? They don't their own grandchild. Sorry, phone.
My dad inherited a large inheritance from his grandfather, but he didn't want to give up his job.
So he's Mr. Beast.
He loved what he did. You see, my dad was a travel agent and he enjoyed traveling. My mother was very supportive of his dreams and his job, just as he was of hers. Sometimes we even traveled with him. This time though, my dad traveled, and when he came back, he needed to be taken to the hospital straight from the airport. My mother and I arrived at the hospital. I sat outside his room while the doctor spoke with my mom. Dr. Smith said, "Mrs. Rose, we believe that your husband caught a bug from his last trip. We began running tests to see if anything would show up. His symptoms are unlike anything we have seen before." My mother came out of my dad's room and said, "Daddy will be fine.
No, he wouldn't. He's gonna die.
How about we do something fun this evening? It's been a while since the girls were over,
Without Dad? No.
so why not have a sleepover?" "Are you sure, Mom? I'm
Have sleepover with your mom.
not sure if I'm up for company," I sighed softly. My mom placed her arm around my shoulder and squeezed me gently and said, "Your dad wouldn't want us moping around the house. We need to stay strong for him, okay?" I nodded. As soon as I got home, I called my friends and asked them if they wanted to come over to spend the night.
Plot twist. They said no.
I didn't mention anything about my dad being in the hospital since that might have put a damper on the atmosphere. My friends Sharon, Kimmy, and Daniela arrived at 6 p.m. We got snacks and sodas from the kitchen, and my mom ordered pizza and fried chicken. Even though we talked to each other every day, we never seemed to run out of things to talk about. "Shh, guys! Dancing with Teens is about to begin," Daniela said, waving her hands frantically trying to get us to hush. Dancing with Teens was our favorite show.
Not mine.
We always dreamed of representing our dance club on it, but it was a tough show to get on. The TV show host spoke. "Good evening and welcome to Dancing with Teens. My name is Josiah
Is that a boy or a girl? Sounds like a girl. It looks like a boy.
Witherspoon. Tonight we got word that one of our teens will be unable to make it next week. It's tough luck for them, but a great opportunity for another teen. We decided to do a TikTok challenge. The team that creates the best TikTok video and emails it to us will win the spot to be on the show next week."
Plot twist. Ariana Grande was on the show.
We will post the winner this Friday at the beginning of our show. Good luck. My friends and I squealed with excitement. "Did you guys hear that?" I said excitedly. "The gods have finally smiled their faces upon us," Kimmy said dramatically as she spread her arms open and looked up to the sky. We giggled. "Okay, let's get down to business. Let's look for a great song and choreograph some moves down tonight."
Looks like we're going into war right now with 4 teenage girls.
Sharon said. We all nodded. For the rest of the night,
No handshake. Finger power!
we practiced our choreography, and by midnight we were set. We did the TikTok video and uploaded it to the email address given by Dancing with Teens. Now, all we had to do...
I didn't know you put on TikTok. I didn't know you supposed to press accept, but not post. I don't know, probably a new update.
was wait. Finally, Friday arrived. My mom was still at the hospital with Dad, and I wasn't allowed to have friends over if she or Dad wasn't at home. We all logged into video chat and waited for Dancing with Teens to begin. Good evening and welcome to Dancing with Teens. My name is Josiah Witherspoon. Tonight, as promised, we will show you the TikTok video that won the challenge. My friends and I sat glued to the TV, our excitement building. I held my breath as the video began to play. It was us! It was us! Shrieks from the other girls filled the room. We did it! I
Hadn't noticed. Right? I didn't know, right?
shouted and began to do a victory dance in front of the TV until I realized the mistake that I made. There was a picture of me and my parents on the background of the video, for all the world to see. I sank into the chair. I was mortified. Should I tell my mom? I have never kept anything from my mom before. I told my
That was a plot twist. Uno reverse card. I don't have one, so can't do it.
friends that I needed to go and cut off the call before they could say goodbye. I went to my room and waited for my mother to arrive. My eyes opened and I realized I must have dozed off. I checked my clock on the nightstand. It was 10:30 p.m. I walked to my parents' room and was about to open it when I heard my mom sobbing on the other side of the door. Now is not the time to tell mom about the video. I will wait until she's in a better mood, I thought to myself, and walked back to my room. Hey Mom, I said as I poured cereal into my bowl the next morning. Kimmy, Sharon, Daniela, and I got to be guests on Dancing with Teens. My mother looked up at me from the newspaper that she was reading. Oh my God, are you serious? I'm so happy for you girls.
That's not a happy cry.
My mom said as she came over and gave me a kiss on my head. Your father would be so proud of you. We have to go to the studio next Saturday. Would you be able to take me? I asked my mom. Sure I would. I wouldn't miss it for the world. That week, the girls and I met at each other's homes and worked on our routine for the show. This was our big chance to make our dance club proud. By Saturday, my stomach felt as though it was going through a grinder. I was so nervous.
Ew, ugly face! Ew, that's actually really ugly.
Have fun, baby, my mother said as she dropped me off. I'll be back before you perform on stage, okay? Send my love to Daddy. I can't wait to see him later to tell him all about it, I said. My mom gave me a final wave before driving off. I went into the studio and met
How did the window go up that fast?
the other girls to prepare for our routine. Each group was given a space to practice before doing their routine in front of the judges. After about 30 minutes, I told the girls that I needed to get some water. As I was walking back from the water cooler, I noticed a man walking directly towards me.
That's my dad.
Hi, are you Melissa Carr's daughter? The man stopped in front of me and asked. No, I'm not, I said and tried to get past the man. I'm sorry, my name is Isaac Burns. Your mom and I grew up next to each other. You look exactly like her. When I realized that you were going to be on the show today, I wanted to send something for Mel, he said, handing me a black photo album. I took the album and said nothing. The man nodded and walked away. I returned to my group.
So awkward. Like, really awkward.
What's that? Sharon asked, looking at the album. Oh, nothing, I said as I placed the album into my book bag for safekeeping. Finally,
That's not safe. A robber can come up, steal a bank, look through it, know where address is, kidnap you, kidnap everyone in the family, and you'll die on fire.
it was time to perform for the judges. I looked up in the audience and found my mom's familiar face.
Oops, sorry.
Finally, it was time to perform for the judges. I looked up in the audience.
I didn't know Anime 1, Anime 2, Anime 3, 4 anime people would be there. Wow. So inspiring for me.
And found my mom's familiar face. She smiled and waved. That moment of being on the stage in front of the judges was surreal. We had 3 minutes to impress the judges with our routine, and impress them we did. We got called and moved on to the next round of the show.
That wasn't good. That wasn't good.
My mom and I chatted excitedly on the way to the hospital to see my dad. I need to get gas, my mom said as we approached the gas station.
That's it. You said, I need a gas.
We pulled up to a pump and my mom hopped
That was a long week. She's going for the Olympics.
out of the car to pay. My phone rang and I went to my book bag to retrieve it so that I could shut it off. I saw the album and pulled it out. Through all the excitement, I forgot that it was given to me. As I flipped through the album, I noticed that it was a wedding album. My mouth dropped open as I recognized the bride smiling next to her groom. It was my mom, and the groom wasn't my dad. Mom never told me that she was married before, I muttered to myself in amusement. When my mom hopped back into the car, I showed her the album. Mom, what is this? Why didn't you tell me that you were married before?
New anime. Well, it's basically Storytime animated, but anime right here. It's a new Naruto.
I asked, searching her lips for the answers. What? Tell me that you were married before. I asked, searching her lips for the answers. What?
Oh. Look at that face. It's ugly. Ew. Rather.
What? My mom said as she snatched the album from my hands. Where did you get this? She asked. I told her about the man at the studio. How did he know where to find me? My mother said. Her face looked as though all the blood was drained from it. I told her about the TikTok video. I told her that I didn't realize that a family portrait was in the video until it was already sent to the TV show. You ruined everything. My mom yelled at me. We need to get out of town immediately.
Why? What's your dad gonna do?
My mom exited the gas station and went to the opposite direction of the hospital. Aren't we going to visit Dad? I asked, looking back at the way we came. We can't visit your dad now. We need to leave. Your dad will be okay, my mother said, her hands visibly shaking as her grip tightened on the steering wheel. Mom, who was that man? Does Dad even know that you were married before him? I asked. I needed answers to my questions. The man that handed me the album was way too young to be my grandfather. Now is not the time for all these questions. My mother screamed at me. My mother never screamed at me. I watched my mom inhale deeply and she spoke in a softer voice. We are in danger. If we don't leave now, we may never be able to leave. But I don't want to leave, Dad, I cried. I know, baby, but if you stay, they may harm you to get to me, and I wouldn't be able to live with myself if anything happened to you, my mother said. The tires of my mom's car screeched as she pulled up in front of the house. Pack only what you need, my mom said as we got out of the car. You have 2 minutes to meet
Look at her forehead. Oh my god.
me by the car. As I packed my bag, I thought, why didn't I check the video? All of this was my fault. Tiffany, let's go, my mother yelled as she stood at the front door. I ran out of my bedroom and to the front door, and I silently said goodbye to my home as something inside me knew that I would never see that house again. While sitting at the airport, we were suddenly surrounded by police officers. Melissa Blackman, you are under arrest for the attempted murder of Isaac Burns, an officer announced. I tried to hold on to my mother as the police dragged her away.
Now, how did that happen? Was it in a case, then out of a case? I don't know, dude. I'm just making random things up.
I was taken to a foster home until my dad was discharged from the hospital. I tried asking questions about why my mother was arrested, but no one wanted to tell me. Searching the internet, I found out that my mother actually made her wealth by marrying wealthy men, then killing them off. They nicknamed her the Black Widow. The police never had enough evidence to convict her until Isaac Burns. She thought that she had killed Isaac. However, he faked his death and had been in hiding for the past 17 years. Police lost all leads as to where my mother was until a TikTok video surfaced. My mother and Isaac were still legally married, therefore my dad wasn't even her husband. Isaac was the man who had given me the photo album.
Gold digger.
And he must have done it as some sort of sick warning. I couldn't believe my mom would do something like this. She had seemed so sweet and caring, but I realized that all must have been an act. The way that she had screamed at me before proved that. My mother was evil. After 2 weeks after my mother was jailed, my father passed away. My father's family contested his will, and I got nothing. I had no friends in the foster home as everyone called me the Black Widow's daughter. The next 2 years of my life were miserable. Kimmy, Sharon, and Daniela weren't allowed to talk to me. The only family I had alive was my mom. As soon as I was 18 years of age, I signed up for school. I studied psychology and I wanted to understand why my mom did what she did. Over the years, I not only changed my name but changed my look. My hair was now cut short
Ew, ugly. Hate short hair.
and dyed red. My goal was to get the chance to work at the women's prison where my mom was incarcerated. I knew, however, that they wouldn't allow me to work there if they knew my mother was in the system. After 20 years, I finally made my way down the halls of the women's prison as Dr. Elizabeth Ignace. "So, Mrs. Burns, would you like some tea?" I asked as I looked at my mother. She had aged considerably during her time in the prison. "My mother and I have been having sessions for the past year." "I would love some," she nodded. About 15 minutes after drinking the tea, I watched as my mother doubled over in pain. She looked up at me as her nose began to bleed. I opened the door and shouted, "Guard!" before I knelt next to my mother and whispered in her ear, "I have waited 20 years for this. May my father finally rest in peace." They say that having...
Well, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Hope you like and subscribe for the rest of the day. Peace. I was pulled up in the Lambo. Walk around. Okay, bye.